Hey Encino, we've made exciting upgrades to your Amazon Fresh store, and it's time to celebrate with savings. Pick up our circular in-store and find big deals updated every week. Visit your refreshed Amazon Fresh grocery store on Ventura Boulevard.
Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio.
Live from Los Angeles, the Win Without Competing show with Dr. Arlene Barro, host and creator of the Right Fit Method, the key to professional and personal success. Now, let's join Dr. Arlene.
Welcome to episode 102 of the Win Without Competing show. Presidential candidates broadcast brands, right fit or wrong fit? Trump, Cruz, Kasich, Clinton, Sanders. The world is watching our extraordinary presidential job interview and selection process. Our next president would become the new world leader. We must pick the right fit president, establishment or anti-establishment. A country divided. Who is the right fit candidate for you? What can you learn about branding? The Republicans. Donald Trump. Donald Trump, the Republican frontrunner, a brilliant brand strategist who is a polarizing figure. He purposely crafts his messages to elicit very strong emotional responses. He believes that there is no such thing as bad publicity. Read The Art of the Deal. Trump is a one-man ad agency who promotes his presidential brand. Everything that he says and does is carefully orchestrated. His motto, Make America Great Again. What has he achieved? 1. Captured the Republican frontrunner position, and for many, he is the presumptive nominee. 2. Generated tremendous interest in the Republican Party. Look at the number of primary voters, as well as the television and internet debate viewers. 3. Ignited almost $2 billion in free media publicity. How did he do that? Trump tantalized our brainwaves, of course. Yes, that's what I said. He tantalized our brainwaves. The Washington Post reports a study which evaluated the changes in brainwaves for a small group of viewers watching a Republican debate. When their brainwaves were highly stimulated, lights lit up. For whom? Donald Trump. The researchers concluded that Trump was one of a kind. Do you think that your brand could stimulate other people's brainwaves? Think about it and call me. 310-443-4277. Everyone cannot be Trump, but everyone has the potential to create a powerful brand. Trump's brand is like two sides of a coin. On one side, you have his positive achievements and loyal followers. On the other side, the Stop Trump movement, including a significant portion of the Republican Party. To capture the nomination, Trump needs 1,237 delegates. If he had strong party support, no problem. To reduce the risk of an open convention, he must strive to exceed 1,237, develop supportive relationship with delegates so that they do not withdraw their support, adopt presidential behavior to calm the fears of the Republican Party and millions of potential voters, and soften his rhetoric to capture the undecided, the Democratic voters, some of them have interest in him, and more Republican voters. Trump must adopt the behavioral changes now to seal the deal for the nomination and set the stage to win in November. But first, of course, he must win the nomination in July at the convention. Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz, running second to Donald Trump, brands himself as a true conservative. As a sitting senator, Cruz constantly fights with the establishment. Cruz never mentions that he does not like to negotiate with his colleagues. Congress, interestingly enough, looks at him as someone who has shut them down more than once. Congressional enemies, however, have decided that they would rather have Cruz than Trump. Can Trump win those people over to his side? If Trump can win significantly more delegates than the 1,237 before the Republican convention in July, then he will become the Republican nominee and win on the first ballot. If Trump is close to the required number of delegates, then his nomination is precarious. If Cruz is not too far behind Trump, he has an open door. Senator Rubio, who stopped campaigning after he lost Florida, could announce at the convention that he wants to give his electoral votes to Cruz. And then we have Kasich. More about him shortly. Trump, the master deal maker, understands that either he must close his nomination with more than the required number of delegates or on the first ballot at the convention. If he cannot do either, then it will be difficult for him to become the nominee. Why? After the first ballot, the delegates can cast their votes for another candidate. In other words, they are not required to continue supporting Trump. That's why I mentioned earlier that his relationships with delegates could make or break him. Note, the Republican National Committee will meet prior to the convention. They are allowed to change their rules. Yes, they are allowed to change their rules. If they decide to do this, we cannot predict the impact of this on the presidential nomination for the Republicans. John Kasich. John Kasich, the governor of Ohio, won the Ohio primary. He would have dropped out if he had lost Ohio. His brand is vanilla. He is an establishment candidate who believes that he can win the nomination. He is eager for an open convention to capture the nomination. At this time, discussions about Kasich have focused on him as a potential VP candidate to Cruz. Kasich is not interested, and neither is Cruz. Cruz might change his mind if he needs Kasich's delegates. Kasich maintains a rigid posture on his policies and on his lack of desire to become a VP. On to the Democratic nominees, Clinton and Sanders. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is the presumptive nominee, even though she has not quite reached her magic number of delegates. She is an establishment candidate who modifies her brand, moving more and more to the left, preparing to capture Senator Bernie Sanders' candidates. Her trustworthiness and judgment have been questioned. Clinton might not become the nominee. Why? If the FBI director recommends that she should be indicted for improperly handling and managing her email, and she is indicted, she cannot run for president. Bernie Sanders. Senator Bernie Sanders is an anti-establishment candidate who characterizes himself as an independent who became a democratic socialist. From a branding perspective, referring to himself as a socialist is not beneficial. Early on in his campaign, he used the term, but of late, it has not taken center stage. Sanders is very popular, raised lots of money from small donations, and received millions and millions of votes. He is determined to stay in the race and will go to the Democratic Convention in July. It appears that he is hoping that he could become the nominee if Clinton is indicted, or he could decide to contest Clinton's nomination if he has a significant number of delegate votes. The Democratic chairwoman, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, is clearly a Clinton fan. In fact, the vice chairwoman resigned to support Sanders. Keep in mind that the Democratic National Committee, like the RNC, can change their rules before the convention. We need to watch both parties to ensure that our primary votes are not discarded. We do not want the parties to choose our presidential nominees for us. And what about you? Create a brand to excite brainwaves. What about your business or career brand? Have you crafted a unique brand? Do you know how to achieve unparalleled business or career success? Let's talk about you. Call Dr. Arlene at 310-443-4277 or email me drbarro at winwithoutcompeting.com. That's Dr. Barro with no W at winwithoutcompeting.com. To learn more about my accomplishments, visit barroglobal.com, winwithoutcompeting.com, and drbarro.com. That's drbarro.com. Join me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Thank you for listening to the 102nd episode of the Win Without Competing show. Goodbye for now. This is Dr. Arlene.
Hey LA, fly nonstop to 10 cities with Avelo Airlines from Burbank. Enjoy everyday low fares, reliable service, and no change or cancel fees. Use promo code IHEART for $20 off round-trip fares through June. Visit AveloAir.com to book your trip. Plus, win 2 round-trip flights to any destination, whether it's a wine weekend or a city adventure. Avelo Air has you covered. Visit iHeartAveloFlyaway.com to register. Don't miss this incredible opportunity to fly with Avelo Air. Register today and get ready to say hello to Avelo. That's AVELO Air.com.
It can get lonely climbing Mount McKinley, so to entertain myself, I go to ChumbaCasino.com. At Chumba Casino, I can play hundreds of online casino-style games for free, like online slots, bingo, Slingo, and more. Plus, I get a daily login bonus. It's just too bad that up here, I don't have anyone to share my excitement with. Woohoo!
Live the Chumba life. Anytime, anywhere.
Play for free now at ChumbaCasino.com. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.